How's it going, everybody? This is Maxwell McGee. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we are checking out the Bureau, XCOM Declassified. And to help me do that, I'm joined by the one and only Morgan Gray, creative director on the game. Morgan, thank you for sitting down with us.
Thank you so much for having us. It's awesome to be here.
Our main character, he's lighting up a smoke. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be seeing today?
So our smoking compatriot here is William Carter. Let's just start off. In the Bureau XCOM Declassified, we're telling the never-before-told origin story of the XCOM universe, of the XCOM organization. He plays Agent William Carter. We're back here in 1962, right at the start. It's the height of the Cold War. It's U.S. against the Soviet Union. Tensions are high, and suddenly, into that powder keg, aliens attack.
We drop some aliens right in the middle of it.
Poof! And so we want you to be there. Day one, where the Bureau, dedicated to defending us against a foreign threat, expands their definition of foreign to include anything not of this globe.
All right.
We're also doing an emphasis on fulfilling the fantasy of what is it like to be an XCOM team field commander. So gone is the God-eye perspective. Gone is the I'm going to control all aspects of the organization. Like I'm deciding which wings are being built to which things are getting done over here.
You're doing your research, building your satellites, all that stuff.
We're trying to get what is it like to be the guy in the field with the squad under fire, getting the same level of tactical, understanding in combat, but in this sort of real-time third-person expression. So as you can see right now, we have our driver here, our disembodied driver, in the battle focus interface, which is your real-time way to control your agents around the battlefield. It gives you the ability to do very discrete, flanking maneuvers, movements, position them to your heart's content, and you unleash all the powers and abilities and can link them together into a cool plan.
So is time completely stopped when you're in that menu and issuing those orders?
At one point we played with frozen time, but we decided that was kind of against our charter. Like our charter is this great experiment, find the real-time expression of this XCOM tactical combat. So time is slowed down because we didn't want you to run in the middle of the battlefield.
Sure.
Go,
whoa,
time out, have all the time in the world, figure out what you want to do, and then get back in. So it's slowed down so that we keep the tension and the pressure still happening. You can actually get capped, shot out of Battle Focus if you're in it, or ground pounded by another guy.
Is there a time limit on Battle Focus?
No, you can stay in there for as long as you want, but because time is a little slow, things are moving. Like if you really, really want to be a turtle, I suppose you could stay in there and watch everything that you do happen in slow motion. But the balance, the rhythm we're trying to find in the game is a mixture of squad ordering within Battle Focus itself, a little bit of run and gun on your own. As you can see, Carter right here is trying to take out these drones that are mutually supporting each other. They're basically healing each other, as well as quick commands out in the battlefield, like, hey, you go here, you get this guy, and keep you through all those tools to be able to put them together in whatever rhythm feels appropriate, depending on the battle.
All right, now before we get any further, I have to ask what was going on with those two civilians that were just hanging out there. They look like they're in a bit of shock right now.
Yeah, they're not doing so well. Their mascara's running. They're
having a bit of a bad time.
They've been crying it out
in the face area.
So those poor humans here in our 60s summer camp that's been taken over by the enemy.
Our wholesome 60s.
Our wholesome 60s. Yes.
So wholesome.
Are suffering from what we call the sleepwalker virus. It's a disease that our enemy, the Zujari, the primary enemy. We have a bunch of classic XCOM enemies, but we also have brought something new to the table. It's a disease that they inflicted on the United States as sort of the first salvo in their war effort. And at least it turns people sort of catatonic into a very sort of like, I am brain dead state. But it also makes them susceptible to mind control, and they actually be activated by the enemies at different points in time in the game, making them a threat in our narrative. And so those are just examples of these pure little innocents out in the middle of the battlefield, unbeknownst to them, as the bullets and lasers fly all around. So we're working it up here. You can actually see our driver doing great sort of leapfrog tactics. First his agents, then himself, first his agents. And again, our big goal here is to get away from a Rambo-esque lone gun, one gun experience.
Oh yeah, because that'll get you killed in any XCOM.
Yes. In any XCOM, it's a good way to die, and certainly in our XCOM as well. You will die if you try that approach. We like to say it's like a smart shooter for smart gamers. That kind of sounds elitist, so maybe I feel bad about that. But in general, the idea, like true to XCOM and true to the games and 2K Marine's heritage, Bioshock 2 and like Minerva's Den, we want to get a little more than just Twitch into our gameplay. We want to give you a good tool chest of abilities between Carter and his weapons and the powers he gets to the different agents you bring, and let you come to the table with that tool chest and decide how to put it together.
So for this mission in particular, about how far into the into the narrative are we?
So we are sort of in betwixt the Act 2, Act 3 crossover. So Carter and his squad have leveled up. They've ranked up numerous times throughout the course of the game. We now have access to advanced technology like the laser weaponry and plasma weaponry and all the cool powers available. You can see we also have a host of these backpacks, these sort of in-world found items that you can use and put on yourself like RPG equipment to get different boosts. Like I break shields faster, I break armor faster, my cooldowns, my powers recharge, that sort of thing. And so this is a minor operation, kind of a side quest. There's a number of these minor operations that become available throughout the course of the primary campaign. And then this one, your goal here is to sort of shut down this outsider, the name for aliens, their sleepwalker processing facility in our ideal little 60 summer camp. The cool thing about the game, at its heart, which in video form works great, much better than screenshot, is this emphasis on tactics. So you can see our driver here is using his 2 agents, positioning them very, discreetly on 2 opposite flanks, one on the high ground, one moving in on the low ground. He's sort of using that to drop a plasma field under the enemy, effectively building the equivalent of a combat plan, or what we call sort of like, you do the sports thing, the huddle. All right, you go here, you go do, and go. And once the fight's on and the enemy becomes aware, we're going to have to go in between our own ability to run and gun and shoot and use our powers, and the really good management and control over our squad mates. Right now, taking the high ground is going to give not just a visual advantage, but it's actually going to give a statistical advantage to that agent. He's going to do more damage because he's got the height advantage. Flanks give more damage. So, under the hood and in front of your face, there's a lot of sort of crunchy numbers that are happening. I like to liken the gameplay to it's a squad versus squad, small unit tactics military game. We're just replacing Delta Force and Spetsnaz with XCOM operatives and aliens.
Now I might have missed this, but are you always solely in control of Carter, or can you jump between the other 2 characters?
You only manually control Carter.
Okay.
You issue orders to your agent. So we don't want you to be again the disembodied, all-seeing, all-God entity. What we really want to do is tell a focused, sort of gameplay story about William Carter, but also our narrative is very focused on William Carter as your viewpoint into the origin of XCOM. You see, right now we have an elite muton, jump pack enabled, big, badass, hopefully I can say that phrase, and that is forcing our driver to do a very smart plan right now by dividing and conquering, by setting these guys on opposite flanks. He's trying to keep this muton ping-pong. And
it looks like you're also damaging specific parts.
Yes. Yeah, he has specific armor plating on certain body parts that you have to whittle down before you can get to the creamy soft center. If they're purpley green creamy soft center.
The gooey center, if you will.
Of that muton Twinkie, which probably has never been said before because I'm in the history of any XCOM game, so that's cool. But we were able to use great sort of distraction tactics to take out what could easily be a game changer enemy. And to whittle them down. And that's that emphasis on smart tactical play. Like, the player that just tried to run up and punch that thing to death, that would be a game over event. At the very least, you get an agent dropped. And like other XCOM games in our game, if an agent drops, he's gone for good. If you can't recover him, he's dead and dead for the rest of the campaign. Which is pretty harsh because our campaign never stops. There's no ability to sort of sandbox, grind out, new agents. You have to do a bit of agent roster management to keep your team up to the challenges so you don't swap in a new recruit later on.
I know, can you put yourself in a situation where like you've just been focusing in on your 2 favorite buddies in the whole wide world and then one of them gets killed and you're stuck with a stable of level 1?
You absolutely can. That is a bad move on someone's part. But we do things in the game to sort of encourage you to round out your roster. We have these minor operations that are sort of off the main narrative as a chance to take some different dudes with you on a short hop out.
Warm them up a little bit.
Exactly. We also have dispatch missions where you can send guys that aren't with you on basically operations to have them come back more leveled up. So we're trying to tell you, hey, it'd be a good idea to
maybe we should spread out a little bit.
But players are always going to fall in love with a couple guys. I'm sure there'll be those players out there. The other cool aspect of the system is that with each of the agent classes, of which there are 4: commando, engineer, recon, and support, none of them can actually have all of the available powers. You'll actually make choices in a branching sort of skill power level up tree. So players, I think, will be incentivized at the very least to experiment with different combos.
Have different builds. Different
exactly. And so, there's, although it's much more sort of in the battlefield tactical expression of the classic XCOM franchise, it does have a lot of the aspects of the meta thought, the meta game on top of the primary game that hold through. And again, all focused on a lot of player agency, player expression in the tool set, and using your brain to defeat your enemies, not just your twitchy finger.
Now, are all these abilities we're seeing Looks like they all run on cooldown.
They all run on cooldown.
Or do you have XCOM magic?
They all do run on cooldown, at the moment. So the expression of our game is that XCOM nanotechnology cuffs give access to these powers.
Okay.
As you fire them off, they will go into different cooldown states, all for game balance. There are backpack schematics that you're able to apply that will change how that happens, but it is effectively done as a balancing mechanism. And smart players will learn that even though there's cooldowns, doing that sort of first round alpha strike of everything all at once isn't necessarily the smartest thing, because you'll find yourself in a situation where like suddenly, oh, I really wish I had a power to use right now.
Yeah,
so
that could maybe save my life in this situation.
Yeah, it's bound to happen. So and the powers come in different in different categories. So we have the direct damage powers like this fire mission, which is effectively an artillery strike, plasma field, as well as the recon agent has a great abilities to do sort of distraction powers, like a hollow XCOM agent that pulls aggro, as it were, from the bad guys. So each of the classes definitely fills a nice niche, and I've found throughout my own play and various people on the team that there really isn't one single uber class. It really depends on how do you play and what do you want to have support your play style. So I hope to see a lot of players have their own unique ways in which they've defeated the different levels and stages, and when they talk about the game, they'll be like, what, you did what? I did this. Oh, you could do that? That's cool. What? So we're sweeping through the enemies. This is also a great battle to illustrate just in the tactical puzzle of the battlefield, and that it does force target prioritization. Joe made sure, our driver made sure he swept through a lot of the support guys before focusing on what you would think to be the primary target, this gunship. But we knew that if you just put all your effort on this guy, you'd be taken out by the
you're going to get picked off while you're stuck out from behind cover.
Yeah, so he's eliminated the ground forces. He's now focusing on the little aerial drones, the little drones that could, because these guys actually have the ability to shield boost and heal the other bad guys. So even though they're minor, they can be very irritating.
It looks like one of our agents is hurt.
This is a possibility for permadeath. Are we going to get
He's bleeding out. He's losing his feet, now he's losing his legs.
The inappropriately or appropriately named McFall has fallen today, but we're able to
such
get
an unfortunate XCOM name.
Yeah, it's like, don't name an XCOM agent after yourself.
You're gonna jinx yourself.
Yeah, or a verb that implies your imminent death or loss. But we're back out there, and we're sort of ping-ponging through the various threats, all trying to basically keep our advantage, not get out in the open where we get hosed, and still take this bad guy down. We also can take a look at see Carter's weapon set, in which we're using right here as well, to see what tools that we have at our disposal that can take this gunship out. We have the blob, which is basically launching your own tamed into your own use silicoid, as well as Carter has the heal and lift ability. So it's not just your agents that help get all the toys. Carter himself will be able to rank up and get an access to a bunch of abilities. He's kind of the pet class of the round of the enemies.
Speaking of pet classes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I seem to remember in one of the early demonstrations for this XCOM game, there was a device that let you capture alien machines.
Yes, we were playing with this concept of capture and control in the battlefield, and we liked it because we thought it was a good mechanism. But as we started to focus more on the tactical squad combat, we actually realized we were being a little conflictory. Use your brain, use your team, use team tactics, and run out there and capture something.
But you also want to run out there and
it was like schizophrenic. Yeah. And so we was like, that's although kind of a cool notion, didn't really fit holistically in with the big experience we were trying to craft. And so we walked away from that and embraced a much more traditional sort of RPG level up structure and how you gain things.
All right, Morgan, well, it looks like we were successful in Operation Wholesome Scout Camp.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to add about XCOM?
Just that I like the ability to show videos, because I think when people can see the game in motion, it definitely speaks to the various things going on. We feel like it is a nice experiment on taking that classic XCOM mission DNA formula, but rejiggering it to something that's a little more immediate in your face. And so hopefully when we come out August 20th on Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, people can get some stick time and have some fun with it.
All right, well, thank you so much for sitting down with us.
Thank you. Have a good one.